Hi guys, welcome back to Paint with Josh. Man, we knocked it out of the park with this 18 by 24 inch. I know you're excited to paint it, that's why you clicked on the link. So, check the description down below, find all the colors we need, make sure you get your canvas nice and wet, get ready to throw some paint on it. We're gonna do it just like this. Holy cow, back again already. This one's gonna be fun. Taking a little bit of liquid white, smallest little bit, because we don't need a whole lot. We only need it in our light area, right? So let's take it and we're really gonna push it, stretch it as far as we can. Once we start coming over these trees, then you've had enough. You don't need too much, I'm telling you. You put too much in there, it's gonna be bad. So welcome to the Paint with Josh show. This is just a solo tutorial show. So tell me where you're from, what time it is where you're watching, and if this is the first time you've ever watched a Paint with Josh video. If it is, you are in luck because I am fantastic and you've found the best tutorialist on the internet. Good for you. So, a little bit of liquid white in this section, just a small amount. We don't even need a whole lot. See, just a little bit on the glove. And then liquid clear throughout the entire rest of the painting, right? I already did that before we turned the cameras on. I gotta save everybody some time, right? You don't want to sit here with me all night. Nobody wants to sit here all night. Take that liquid clear area, wipe it, because you don't need a whole lot. It's very easy to put on too much. And if we have too much, it's not gonna go good. Look at all that stuff that comes off of there. All this dark purple paint from the painting before today for the members. Did a members only painting today. So, Bob Ross liquid white looks just like that. Get your tube on Amazon or in my Amazon storefront. We have it listed over there. And then Bob Ross liquid clear. Same stuff, just clear. It doesn't look clear. It looks like yellow, but I swear it's clear. It's clear when you go to put it on. Now let's wash the brush right into the cup, into the old trash can, all over the wall. Spray it into the bucket. If you've never seen the Paint with Josh bucket, it looks a whole lot like this. It's really gross and nasty. Just a 5-gallon bucket that's got a golf ball basket down in the bottom of it. And that golf ball basket just gives you a bunch of surfaces you can beat the devil out of. Clean the brush with. And then I always dab it off on a paper towel. Make it nice and easy. We'll go through the colors we have. Our dark Sienna brown, which is here. The Van Dyke brown, which is the darker brown. Bright red, which is going to run all the way down our palette. Phthalo green, Phthalo blue, Alizarin crimson, midnight black, and then titanium white. Let's see what we can do about this runny mess. Always during the show. So again, tell me where you're watching from, what time it is, how many times you've watched a Paint with Josh video, and I will try to respond back to every single person. Now, if you don't know, I have an Amazon wish list. This palette came from the wish list. This canvas came from Mark Anderson. This came from Linda. We have brushes, we have all sorts of paints and stuff. I need help kind of getting all the supplies in order to help make all these videos, right? So, we're not going to talk any more about it other than that. As our paint just runs down this brand new palette, so slick. It's so slick that all the paint colors want to run now. Alright, let's see. Now, I want to have like a reddish sky, maybe a little bit of crimson in here. I mean, we could do the whole thing in crimson, but I don't want to do too much of that. So if we're going to do a red sky, let's have red water. So we'll do crimson down in here. Let's grab our crimson onto the 2-inch brush. Pull it down just like that. And maybe down where I want my water to be. It's going to be nice and blood red. Blood red, crimson-y color down in here. Now, it doesn't matter if it's across the area where we don't need our water. We can always cover it. Now let's go into the red itself. All right, I'm going to throw that red in here as well. Just let it mix into the canvas, blend into that crimson. It'll be this nice dark color by the time we get done. Stretch it out, don't need a whole huge amount. Gorgeous little thing, just like that. Fantastic, fantastic. All right, let's take a little bit more of the crimson since we have it on the brush. And we're just going to dump that darker crimson-y color just around where we're going to have our red sky kind of meet our forest. Like anywhere where we missed any areas with that black gesso that we put on, it'll just get covered just like that. Okay, we got our red, we got our crimson. Leave a little bit of dark area in between. Don't want to have it go too crazy, Josh. Now, what are we going to do over here? Since we got this going, why don't we take our brush, fill it with our red and our crimson together. Get a brand new little cup that we've got over here, maybe just around the cup. Just gonna drop that crimson-y red. And then we're gonna blend out and away from it, right? All of the red color out and away from that little moon or sun or whatever you wanna call it. And just fill up the whole sky with that red. Oof. fantastic. And we could leave it white just like that. You could do all sorts of stuff with it, but I don't think we're going to need the cup anymore. Let's go a little bit of crimson, a little bit of black. Just a little bit. Start to pull it in from the top. And it's going to mix. It's not going to stay very dark black like that. Right? It's going to mix in. It's going to blend in. You're going to drag it down. I'm going to blend with all those colors. Now, with our little moon sun thing, we're going to pull it in here from every angle, just till we have a little bit of white center. And then we'll go back and put our moon right through the center of that thing. A little bit of our dark sky clouds. Grab our filbert brush. Go right into our white paint with the filbert brush. Don't need too much paint on there. We're going to push flat right into that area and rotate around. Rotate around until we make a little circle. Doesn't need to be humongous. As long as you keep spinning, you'll have this very cool little easy moon that we just made right there. Now with this guy, we can blend in these colors, staying away from our moon, right? Leaving that little kind of bright area around it. It's really cool, to me anyway. Really cool. And the more and more we blend, the softer everything will become. Let's get a little bit more of the black. Right, just let it mix in. Maybe there's a little, I don't know, little dark cloud off in the distance. You can just see it just like that. Mix in the rest of this black. Get this nice spooky little sky. Woo! Fantastic. Got all of our dark colors in there. Now we're going to wash that brush off because we need to use it again. So into the can, into the bucket, and then back onto a paper towel. Look at how clean and precious that is. Oh my. All right, let's grab up our colors again. What do we got over here? We could do phthalo green and phthalo blue. Why don't we do that? A little bit of phthalo green. And come in here. Don't want to really mix it in too much with our reds, but if we want it to be kind of spooky, then we need a little bit of greenish, bluish color, I think, anyway. Come up here into our blue and just dump it in wherever we don't have any color left on our canvas. So over here we can mix it in with the crimson and the red, and then whatever happens, we're going to have a little bit of backdrop color for it. It's going to be fantastic. A little bit of that dark blue underneath where we had our red over here. Woo! Very pretty little canvas so far. All right, let's wash all the color out of that guy. And then we'll switch to a smaller brush. We don't need this big guy so much anymore. Very nice, very easy. Always dab it off though. You don't want to have it wet when you go up there, I'll tell you that. Let me tell you what, you don't want to have it wet. See if we can't pull any of that lighter. There we go. Just kind of throw in a little bit of the sun rays. Whatever it is, grab a little bit of white on our brush. You can pull those down in different places. It's coming from the sun. Just remember your angles though, right? Don't want to have it be too crazy. And you can get a little bit of sunlight blasting through the forest back there. Very cool. Very simply, very easily done, right? And with these little 1 and 2 inch brushes, you can just mix up. It's very fantastic. Oh, look at that. That is neat. All right, let's throw a couple little bits of tree trunk of some sort of thing. All right, let's make up a little gray color. We're going to decide as we come closer what our trees are going to look like. All right, so we'll take the white and the black. Get some of the red in there. It doesn't matter. Make this cool kind of grayish color. We can grab some of that up and maybe back in here. Oh yeah, that's perfect. I'm not going to see too many of them. Maybe every so often we'll see a few little tree trunks of those guys that are being held up way off in the distance. Maybe turn our knife the other way. See if it drops any little bit of color in there. Go back, grab up a little bit more wherever you think you need them. Right? Don't want them to be too bright or too noticeable. Just like that. Very soft, very easy little landscape today. All right, there we go. Now we're going to come in with a little bit of fog because we don't really know where the base of those trees are, right? So grab a little bit of white onto our brush, and then we're going to come in just very lightly. Oof, look at that. You don't want to have too much, so if you start to deposit too much, ooh, look, let's come up here. Very cool. Just make a little bit of fog back in there, right? Very neat. Cool little stuff. Come back with our 1 inch brush. The more you push, you see how it's turning pink because we have all that crimson underneath there? Look at that. Ooh, I'm getting scared. I'm getting scared, guys. Somebody call the Ghostbusters because I'm getting scared. Look at that. Very cool. A little bit of light that's lighting up these little bits of mist. And all it is a little backdrop color for whatever we put in there next, right? Ooh, take some of that blue that's from over here and mix it in over here. Change up our colors a little bit. Oh, it's fantastic. A little bit more of that over here. Add a couple little shadows. If it's too bright, you can do all sorts of things. Now, let's say there was a bit of like, I don't know, a little bit of land started to come from betwixt the mist, right? I want it to go up. Maybe they'll start to change, go a different direction over here. But all of a sudden, we can start to see, and especially as we flatten it out, we'll have this very cool little piece of snow coming in. Take a clean brush so we don't kind of mess up all these colors. The white really wants to blend with every color you put underneath it. See where we're into our green section over here? Starting to get spooky back here. Look at that. Don't mess it up too much. Leave them. They're very cool. Very cool, just like that. Now, if we come in with a little bit of white, a little bit of liquid white, right, we mix these guys up so they're nice and sloppy. Come in like here and along the edge of our little river bank as we go back and forth and back and forth. All the way across. Why not? Take our big 2-inch brush. The reason you want the liquid white in there is so that it does this. With the liquid white, it'll drop down just like just sheen on the water or reflection or anything. And that's why you got to have that liquid white in there with it. Come to the side. Don't just pull all to one side because you can slide these guys over and then they won't make sense anymore. They'll be all askew. And just like that, we got a little bit of red water, a little reflection off of our water. Very cool. And the more you push, the more it's going to kind of blend. Right? So if you have some areas that are just too thick, just push them again, blend it. Now all of a sudden we got some really cool bits on our water and our land back here. Very neat. Very neat. You can start to decide, maybe this guy, I don't know, maybe the hill came up here, start to go down, right? Just based on the angles of our brush strokes, you can change what your land looks like just by changing it up, nice and simple, gorgeous, soft little strokes, right? All we want is some color back in here. Why don't we take a little bit of our white, ooh, come up in here. Maybe we had some of that fog that just made its way through the forest, leaving lots and lots of dark areas though. You don't want to have too many areas that are just full of white. It's not really gonna work for us, right? And come in here, just start to mix them up. All it is a mess. That's all the fog is. Fog, clouds, it's all a mess. Right? No one knows where the base of the floor is, where the base of the trees are. You can bring it as high as you want, as low as you want. Stretch it out. Any little bit of color or a little bit of white that touches our back color or our undercolor back there is going to look like some sort of spooky fog. So don't worry about it. Now let's take our other fan brush and we're going to start to throw in some closer trees over here, right? So we'll get our black and our crimson and our blue all on the same brush, all at the same time. Just mix them up into this nice dark black thing here. And I don't know, maybe there was a tree that lived right there. Just pop him in. Yeah, it doesn't even have to be straight. All right, the reason we put that color back there is so that we can have little darknesses like this. There's another tree right there. And depending on how far we go down with our strokes and how thick our tree trunks are, right, you can stick a guy a little bit further back. All depends on what you want to do. All right, what do you want yours to look like? Maybe there's a guy over here. And the further we go down, the harder we push. And that way our trees become thicker at the bottom. All right, let's get a little bit of that Van Dyke brown over here, that real deep darkish brown color. And I don't know, maybe there was another one. This guy was bigger though. Just crisscrossed, a little bit thicker. He actually goes up and out of the frame over here, right? All depends on what you want yours to look like. Very simple, couple little trees. You can even do little bits of detail on our So if that one was like that, and this one's going to be like this, right? That one's pretty straight. Also pretty straight. And we're coming over this way and that way. Right? And like those don't look like reflections, Josh. Just pull on them a little bit, mess with them, and all of a sudden you've got some cool little reflections in our red water, which is really neat. Yeah, just like that. Very cool. Very cool little things. Now, we can decide where we want our trees, where we want our trunks, where we want everything, right? Maybe these guys lived a little bit further on back there. This guy was up here on the hill. He's going down this way. And that guy's a little bit closer because he lives over here. And these guys, right? They're big, tall guys. They live down in the foreground. Very cool, right? Just simply, easily adding in little bits of color. You can always go back and change. Right? Doesn't have to just be one way and that's it. You can do whatever you want to do. As long as you have little differences in there. That's all I'm looking for. Just little differences in color, not all the same. Right? Bringing it down to where our shoreline is. Let's get a little bit more of that dark color. And maybe we just really pronounce the shore just by shaking our knife. Letting that dark kind of fill in different places, right? Doesn't have to be perfect. Doesn't have to be this gorgeous straight thing. You just want it to separate our water from our land. That's all we're looking for it to do. Separate the water from the land, just like that. All right, now we can come in with our liquid white and our titanium white waterline again. And just very lightly over the top or just underneath. Right, wherever it wants to take. It doesn't have to be perfect, remember. Just little things. Far off little differences, little things. If you get a little bit too much, it's all right. Show you what you can do. Show you what you can do. Do that same thing again. Just try not to grab too much of that darkness. Right? Pull it over. All the way from the side, though. You see we're grabbing all the way over here and pulling? That way anything that we leave, we can always undo. That kind of looks cool with the light of the moon underneath there. Very soft, a little bit of water. Little things. Little things until you like the way that it looks. Doesn't have to look like anyone else's. As long as you like it, then that's all that matters. Okay, a little bit back in there. Try to sneak its way up inside. Never has to be totally 100% perfect. And then back here, we like to leave that guy a little thinner than the rest, right? Pull my whole thing down. And just for good measure, let's make this guy in the front a little bit more thick and waterliney, just so it makes sense to my brain. That's all. Very softly. Very softly. Just a couple hairs and some airs back and forth. Right? Take our little bit of water. Just in different places where we don't like it. Bam. Straight off, just like that. Very cool. Very, very cool. Bam. Just until you like it. That's all. That's all you got to do. Now, why don't we come in? Let's make up a little bit of tree color for this guy. Look at how my red is just slid all the way down the palette. That is a brand new, fresh palette, let me tell you. A little bit of both of those browns in there. Just mix it up, get a nice and darkish, brownish. Don't overdo though, right? Then maybe we'll come in over here, just on the edge. Just put the one little side of him on there. All right, this guy over here. All you got to do, a little bit of a highlight. Just let it ride up the tree. Right? You put two lines on one, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Just need to have some of our shadow and some of our highlight in the same tree trunk. Right? And then your mind will kind of make in the rest. This guy we're going to have to make a little bit more detailed. Pull on him to the side just a little bit. And then he'll have some cool little bits of bark to make up his tree. Very cool. Doesn't have to be super bright, remember. Right, this guy over here, just straight push him up like that. Very cool. Now we can add a few little branches if you like. I don't want to overdo it on the branches. We don't need to have a whole ton, but let's grab a couple. So we'll get a little bit of our paint thinner into our dark pile, onto our brush, and then we're going to come in here and just shake it up. Decide where we want these little branches to be. You can add little ones, you can make them crazy long, you can do all sorts of little things. All right, and we go off the front of this guy. Over there. Shake it up over here. Over there. Just be nuts with it. Right? Be crazy. Crazy boys over here. Look at this. Go as nuts as you want to go. Right? This is a spooky kind of wintry scene. You can have as many branches or as few as you'd like. You don't have to go as crazy as old Uncle Josh, right? Let's see. Little things. The faster you are, the more realistic it looks to me, right? Just kind of like going crazy. We got a couple over here, some over there. It's like doing them speed racer style. Just makes them look more realistic. You give less thought about where they're exactly going to be, what's the exact shape going to look like, right? Doesn't really matter. So just let it rip, and whatever comes off, and it looks wicked. Just like that. Very cool. Very cool little thing. Except our one bigger tree isn't so bright. All these other trees look like they have a really bright side. So let's take him up into here, into the darkness, right? Maybe grab some of our darker color, come from the other side. I know it's kind of hard to see. All we're doing is just making a little bit of a mess in there, and then we're going to come back and just start to go back and forth until it starts to look like tree bark to you. But don't cover up that whole dark side. You need it. You need it back there. Like this guy, he needs a little bit more, just a little bit of a detail on there. Small little things make the biggest difference, right? And if it's a little bit too bright, go over it until it's not. It'll mix in with the color that's underneath. It loves to do that. Let's see if we can't get a little bit of paint thinner into that lighter color. This lighter color brown that we have, just the same way we can kind of highlight just a couple of these little guys that are kind of thick, or up here into the dark section. And we can just highlight a few little guys so they stand out just a little bit more. Right? Just be crazy though. Doesn't have to be the most gorgeous thing you've ever seen or anything like that. You can have all sorts of little stuff that just lives, kind of grows up out of the water, lives over here. Just very fast, cute little things, right? Little bits of grassy goodness that start to grow and live up out of these things. Really cool. All right. Now, we need to finish off the bottom side of our painting. You could leave it just like that if you wanted to. You could leave it. But I don't want to. We're going to put a little bit of snow over here. So let's just take the brush. We got enough white paint. Let's take the brush, and maybe over here, let's just start to throw in our own little bit of shoreline from this side, right? So get our white. Don't want to lose all of our cool little colors. Look at it, it's turning blue down in here too. Very cool, right? Just leading it out to the edge of our water. Very neat, very neat. All right, let's use our other brush here. Grab our 1-inch brush. Just start to make it soft. As we make it soft, it'll look like land. Very cool. Then we can add a few little things over the top here. And that'll really push our edge of our water back. It's really neat, like it's almost frozen on the top. It's almost frozen, baby. It's frozen. Woo! Very cool. You can put 1 or 2 little bushes over here. Maybe a little tree trunk, something. Why don't we do that? Let's do a little skinny little tree trunk. Go back into our paint thinner, into our dark colors. Back into here, we'll do this crazy little skinny guy. Right, let's see, maybe he comes from up here. He starts going down, getting bigger because we're pushing harder. And then he lands right there. Very cool. Go back to our paint thinner, give him a couple little arms. Gotta have a lot of paint thinner on the brush though when you go to do this one. That's why I love these new brushes that we got. Right, make this guy thick. Turn the brush to the side. Give him a little bit thicker trunk to deal with, right? Very cool. One more little arm on this guy. Just like that. A couple little details here and there and here. Don't need to get crazy. A little bit extra paint because we ran over a lot of white and it started to get real bright, and that's not what you want. You want it to stay dark. So go back, grab a little bit of that extra darkness. Bring it in, try to get it to come off of your brush without getting too white. There we go. Gorgeous. Okay, come in with the last littlest bit. Grab up some of that crimson and black and blue. Any little color you can get. Maybe we'll pop in just a little bit of a bush down around the bottom of this guy. Take our 1-inch brush very lightly in different places. So we have different levels of the bush, right? It's not just a flat thing. And we went a little bit light on our color, so let's go with our white. Swipe it in there. Come back with our 1-inch brush and just very lightly give us a few little differences back in there. That's all we need. Couple little differences, guys. This, our water line on this side, you don't even really want to mess with. Like, it's so tough to get it onto this edge. You don't even want to try. Right? Because you're never going to see all of the water is the thing. That's why we don't like to paint it. Because you won't really see it all too much. There we go. And it get dark over there. I like that. It's very cool. Very cool. And you can take yours, you don't even have to have it be water. You can have it be anything you want it to be. It could just be some shadows in your snow for all you want it to be. Totally up to you. But this one turned out fantastic, and I love it. My goodness. All right. Let's throw the old family in there. Get our little birds. Love the little family of birds. It seems like everyone else loves the family of birds as well. Grab our old maul stick down here. Very small, very light pressure. And the birds just come to life. It's the only way we get to travel. They represent myself, my wife, and my daughter. So, I always encourage you guys to paint your own set of birds in there. Do anything you can. Let's get our paint thinner. Why don't we come down into this color down in here? That's a nice kind of brightish color, but not too crazy bright that it's going to stand out forever, right? Maybe we'll put our little JK right down in here. Just kidding, guys. Bam, right there. That's how you know it's an original. Poof, baby. There's nothing in that cup. I don't know why I did that. There we go. So, well, this one just came out fantastic. I hope you guys like it as much as I do. And until we see you guys again next time, take care. Have the rest of a good day, and pow! You already knew. You're the best. All right, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.